Hello to all of my classmates of Speech 100. I'd like to thank you for watching my introductory video and hope you learn a little about me from this short statement. As you probably have read, my name is Sigmund Evans. I know for some people, I won't look the way they imagine a Sigmund would look, but it's my given name, and I've had it all of my life. It isn't a very common name in America, and even though it was my mother's chosen name for me, I think some of my family couldn't get used to it. So if you come to any of my family functions, you may hear people referring to me as Cecil. Cecil is also not a very common nickname for especially a child, but if I hear someone call me this, then I know that they're family. I'm not sure how either of the names were chosen for me, but Sigmund has been a great name to have. People call me Sig. Sometimes they pronounce it Zig, but I prefer Sig. And some of you may recognize that name for a gun manufacturer, which is why you see bumper stickers saying, "Got Sig." Whenever I see that, I smile to myself. Currently, I hold the position of emergency manager for an installation in Washington, D.C. I have worked in emergency management for over 10, 12 years, and I really enjoy it. Most of the people imagine an emergency manager as the guy behind the monitors, holding the walkie-talkies, and talking to 5 to 6 people on the phone all at the same time, just basically handling chaos after an emergency. I have filled that role when necessary, but the majority of my job involves preparing, training, reviewing plans, and mitigating plans, mitigating disasters and emergencies. I spend a lot of time working with tabletops, essentially reconstructing emergency scenarios. And it helps us get out of the kinks and teach people how to follow proper procedures before an emergency occurs. As the old saying goes, practice makes perfect. In my world, practice saves lives. My job is in the District of Columbia or the city of Washington, D.C., but I decided to live in Richmond, Virginia. It's about an hour, hour and a half away, and that's where I grew up a majority of my life. I commute in various ways back and forth. Sometimes I drive, and until I decided to make this crazy commute, driving was one of my favorite things to do. But if you know anything about DC traffic, then you know that that's been beaten out of me. So now one of my favorite things to do is complain about the crazy stuff that I saw out on the DC highways. My family enjoys living in Richmond. I particularly moved there for my 3 sons, close in age, 6, 9, and 11. And they keep me really busy with activities and try to drive me up the wall as much as possible whenever they can. But I try to spend as much time as I possibly can with them. They play league baseball, basketball, football, um, but my favorites are basketball and football. But unlike their father, who chose basketball and football, their favorite thing to do is watching WWE wrestling. They watch and they practice it on each other from time to time. They love wrestling so much that they'll do anything to make sure that I take them to a WWE wrestling event. Um, in fact, last month I took them to the WrestleMania in Atlanta, and it was a great event for us all. Although I'm not a huge WWE fan, I enjoyed being with my sons. In conclusion, the things you need to know about me, um, and the things that really define me outside of my family and my job are: one, I spent about 10 years of my adult life in Guam. Guam's a Pacific island. in the Pacific. I enjoyed the culture, the food, the tropical lifestyle, and more importantly, I love living near the water. It's very calming to me. 2, in my head, I'm the best non-pro basketball player you'll ever meet. And finally, 3, I'm a past active duty and current reservist in the United States Air Force. I believe joining the Air Force was one of the best decisions I've ever made. So remember, call me Sig, not Zig. And if you hear giggling in the background, it's probably my 3 boys trying to help me get the best grade possible. And if I get an A, I'm going to tell them that I had enough of the WWE wrestling, and I'm going to make them, take me to a basketball game. Thank you.